Hi everyone, welcome back for another recipe. Today I thought we'd make a Dutch recipe. Back when I was living in the Netherlands, I used to eat this all the time. It's a fish dish today, and this is the Netherlands version of fried fish, and it's done in a beer batter. And to accompany this fried fish, today we're also going to be making a Ravigotte sauce, which is based on a mayonnaise similar to tartare, but has a different tangy, salty flavor that goes very well with the fried cod. So let's start by going over the ingredients for this dish. We have two parts of this recipe, the actual fried cod as well as the sauce on the side, the Ravigotte sauce. So for the fried cod, we have our ingredients on this side. We have our cod, of course, that I've portioned into some smaller bite-sized pieces, and I've already seasoned it with some salt. I always like to do that about 20 minutes before I actually cook the fish, because that way the salt has some time to take out some of the moisture that comes from the fish, penetrate the flesh, and give a better taste and better texture to the actual meat. We also have a nice Dutch beer to go with it. Today I'm using Grols, but you could use any kind of Dutch beer like Hertog Jan or Heineken. There is also a little bit of all-purpose flour, as well as 2 eggs for the Ravigotte sauce and 1 egg for the batter. Now moving on to the Ravigotte sauce, we have here our freshly chopped herbs. I have the mix of chives, dill, as well as some parsley. Now I'm using dill today because I wasn't able to find tarragon, but you can swap them out or use both. Originally a Ravigotte sauce uses tarragon, but I also like the flavor of dill, especially when you're cooking with fish. We also have some minced gherkins and a little bit of mustard. That's going to be to make our mayonnaise, the emulsification. We also have here some capers and lastly some shallots. Oil, sunflower oil, a more neutral flavor, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, a bit more lemon for acidity, as well as some lemon zest to enforce the flavor of the acidity. And lastly, we have our fish spice. And this fish spice I make myself. It's a combination of different dried spices such as paprika, smoked paprika that is, a little bit of dried oregano, dried thyme, dried parsley, some ground dried onions, as well as some dried garlic, salt and pepper. You can optionally add some cayenne if you like a kick in it as well. Salt and pepper to taste. Okay, so we're going to start by making the Ravigotte sauce. And the Ravigotte sauce, of course, as you know now, is based on a mayonnaise. So we have our egg yolks here in the bowl. And I'm also going to be adding in the mustard for the mayonnaise. A little bit of extra lecithin to help everything bind together. Now after the mustard has been mixed in, I'm going to add a little bit of sharpness, some apple cider vinegar. And I'm also going to be adding in a little bit of lemon juice, just a few drops. We can add more later after we taste the base sauce. Lastly, a little pinch of salt. I want to add the salt before adding the oil for the mayonnaise, because that way it can dissolve properly. And if you add the salt afterwards, it might stay as some lumps inside. So always better to add the salt before. We're going to whisk in the oil little by little to start forming the emulsion. The more oil you add, the thicker the mayonnaise is going to get. So don't think that you can get away by adding only half of it. We want a nice thick Ravigotte sauce. Now that the base mayonnaise is made, we're going to start adding in the other ingredients for the sauce. We add in our herbs. That's the dill, chives, and parsley. Our chopped gherkins, as well as our minced capers. And the shallots. Mix it through. You can add a little bit of white pepper if you like, or some black pepper, and adjust the final seasoning with some salt and lemon juice. So now we're going to move on to make the batter for the cod, and it's pretty simple batter, a beer batter. Start by adding just a little bit of salt into the flour, the dry ingredients. I'm going to add about 2 pinches, about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to crack a large egg into a bowl and combine the egg with a little bit of beer. Make sure there's no eggshell inside. Now we only need 150 ml of beer for this recipe, so you can enjoy the rest. Make sure it's nice and cold. It's also better for the frying if the batter is nice and cold. Try to crack the beer open right before you fry the fish, because that way the carbonation inside is going to make the fish extra airy, or the batter extra airy around the fish. After mixing the egg together with the beer, we're going to add that slowly into our flour. And we're going to strain the batter just to make sure that we have no lumps with the flour at the very, very end. I normally just use the same bowl that the egg and beer was in before, because I'm going to use my spatula to mix it through if there was any liquid left, and I'm sure there's no lumps in the beer and the egg. You can use the spatula, scrape the sieve to make it go through faster. Don't forget to scrape the bottom to get all the batter out. Keep the spatula in the batter so you can give it a quick stir through right before you fry the fish. It should be liquidy, but not too light. You can adjust it if it's too thin by adding a little extra flour. So make sure the oil has come to 175 degrees Celsius, or about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And when it is, we're going to begin frying the fish. Give the batter one final stir through before you start, and make sure you've also patted the fish dry. I've also added a little bit of extra pepper onto it. That's onto the cod, that is. Now we're going to start dipping them into the batter, one piece after another. Don't drip off the excess by rubbing it against the side of the bowl. Just let it drip naturally. Hold it for a couple of seconds before letting go. That way it's not going to stick to the bottom. And don't do too many at the same time. You're going to take about 3, 4, 5 minutes to cook through, depending on the size of the cod, how thinly you sliced it, as well as the color of the batter. Make sure you have a tray ready and you can lay them on. Control the heat. And here we have it, Kibbeling with Ravigotte sauce. Nicest served hot. Don't try to store this for a second day, cannot really be reheated, but can go very well with a nice beer, especially the one that you made the batter with. Hope you enjoy.